Listen, I can tell very quickly whether someone's going to make it in this space over a long period of time or not. And it's not because I'm special, I have a good guessing game, or I have a crystal ball. It's just that I notice the same patterns over and over again in people's journeys. I've been doing this for 11 years and I've seen so many people come and go. I've seen so many rise and falls. I've seen people come to great heights, great influence, elevate to positions, and then completely fall down and become irrelevant. And this video is not about knocking people down. It's actually about knocking people back into shape and sharing with people what it really takes to become a successful entrepreneur over a long period of time, not to become a quick up and down, a quick come and go, and a quick short success story. So these are 8 tells from my 11-year experience that show me whether somebody's going to be able to stand the test of times as an entrepreneur. So the first tell for me is who people are following. Who are they learning from? Now, I used to say, and actually in the beginning I was told, follow people who have what you want. Then what I realized was that's quite a shallow and short-term way of thinking, because what people have doesn't actually tell you much. Meaning that I could be wearing a Rolex right now, but it might not be real. How do you really know what people's success is propped up on until you actually get to know them? So what I would say is, instead of following people for what they have, follow people for who they are, what they know, and also who they know. We're in a generation where it's easy to look rich, it's easy to look successful, but when you actually look under the hood of people's lives, that will tell you whether you're following the right people. And on that subject as well, for me, I've only ever really followed and listened to people who are miles ahead of me, not in terms of income or what they have, but again, their age, their knowledge, and their experience. I don't listen to modern day personal development. And again, not here to knock that down, just here to tell you that you should listen to people that have been doing it for a very, very long time. So for example, for me, I don't really listen to modern day personal development. And again, not to knock it down, but I personally like to tune into people that have been doing it for a very long time, very knowledgeable, very experienced, and they've stood the test of times. They're trustworthy. So people like John C. Maxwell, for example, I learned from through leadership. Jim Rohn, one of the old school personal development kind of gurus, if you like, or teachers. People that have been here for a long time. And that's a very, very strong indication as to where you'll go, which is who you're following. You don't want to be following a rise and fall, because guess what? You will follow them just after they rise and fall. Tell number 2, a very easy one to spot. You're in it for the wrong reasons. Most people get into entrepreneurship or wanting to be a CEO because of the money. And honestly, that should be an end goal, but it should be at the back of your mind. You should really be focusing on the person you can become in the process. Really, you should be focusing on what you can provide in terms of a service that can serve people and how you can give people a good experience in whatever you're doing. The last thing you should be focusing on is how much can I make? Because if you focus on that mentality, you will constantly feel disappointed, because let me tell you something, entrepreneurship might be marketed well, but it is difficult. It is very difficult. One month you can be having the best month of your life, and the next month you might be struggling to pay your rent. That is the reality that nobody tells you. And if your motive is to just make money, that is a shallow reason why, and you are not going to stand the test of times. I've seen this over and over again. People driven by the wrong things, and money is the main one. Tell number 3, they lack resilience. They see challenges as in the way and not on the way. As I've said before, this is not an easy game. Becoming an entrepreneur is not sexy, it's not simple, and it's not easy, but it's not supposed to be. But what happens is people start something and they run into a challenge. And as I said, they don't see it as on the way. They see it as something is in the way. And you know what? I need to change plan. And they chop and change every other month and go round and round in circles. If you want to make it long term, you have to make a serious decision to start and see it through. Let's look at all the great CEOs, the stars that everybody looks up to today. Elon Musk, Dyson's, there's so many, Henry Ford. Think about all the challenges they went through that now people look at and they're so inspired by it. But look at the average everyday entrepreneur today. They start something, have a little challenge, and all of a sudden they're selling a different course, or now they're selling a different product, or starting a new hustle. They don't have the resilience to see something through, to take the knockbacks and just keep on going. Look at Dyson, for example, made thousands and thousands of prototypes before he got it right. But how many people in this modern day entrepreneurial era would be willing to try the same thing thousands of times. Look at the Wright brothers who invented the aeroplane. How many times do you think they tried and failed? But they had a vision in their mind and they just kept on keeping on. But the average person, they hit a challenge and they fold. Tell number 4, they celebrate too soon. Now, this is something that I've seen a lot. And actually in my early days, I was guilty of it too. There's a great saying that says, never let the wins get to your head and never let the losses get to your heart. If you want to be in this game for a long time, you need to find an emotional regulation where nothing excites you too much and nothing gets you too down, because this journey is full of ups and downs. When you look at successful careers, let's just look at boxers, for example, they will suffer losses, and because of the losses, they get better. An athlete is another great example of a success story that stands the test of times. And entrepreneurship is another career, which most people don't look at it that way. They see a hustle, but if they saw it as a career, they would understand that losing is part of actually winning. I've seen it time and time again where people have a win, it might even be significant, but all of a sudden they are king of the hill. They think they are unstoppable, and almost every single time they're severely humbled. And so my message to you really is find that emotional regulation where nothing gets you overly excited and nothing gets you too down. You're always going to have losses. You're always going to have setbacks. And when you do take those wins, you take them as confidence and actually use it as experience and head for the next checkpoint. Tell number 5, they want to be the star of the show. Honestly, guys, this generation, I've noticed everybody wants to be the superstar, and they do not understand the power of being in a team. They don't understand the power of shared responsibility, shared success, because they think if I'm the main guy, if I'm the CEO, I have 100% of the income. And you might have 100% of the ownership, but you have zero leverage. Naturally, as human beings, we work better in teams. These people always want to be the hero. They have this toxic relationship with being this solopreneur. And I've always said one of the worst types of traits in people is being a self-promoter, having to always tell everybody how good they are, why they're better than everybody else, and on this constant cycle of self-approval or wanting everybody to know that they're the main guy. So much excitement and enjoyment working as a team, sharing a common mission. And again, if you want a journey for a long time, it's always better to go as a team. The old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go as a team. Think about Jeff Bezos, the multi-billionaire that everybody relies on. You probably, as you're watching this, waiting on an Amazon parcel. And if he didn't have the ability to build a team and actually give responsibility to other people, he would never have been able to scale. I see a scarce mindset in a lot of entrepreneurs where they're like a control freak. They want to have their hands on everything. They want to run everything. But really, working as a team, being able to give responsibility and trusting in people to build with is actually a superpower, but it holds a lot of people back. Tell number 6, which really runs off the back of number 5, is that they don't actually value people. They just see people as opportunities or dollar signs. And that's not going to work long time. You need to develop the ability to really see the value in people and really serve people, not to get something out of them or to squeeze money out of them, but because that's the right way to do it. That is how you build long, sustainable success, by building real value through real relationships and real collaboration. People just want to be the star of the show, as I said, and they want to take all the credit and they want to be the main player. But that is not how it works in the real world of long-term entrepreneurship as a career. That is a lack mentality. That is someone that's there for a smash and grab and somebody that only really thinks about themselves. And let's be honest, no one likes selfish people. No one deep down likes egotistical people. I've been in teams and I've led teams. And I'll tell you one example which really is a tell sign of if someone really values people or if they're just there to get something out of them. I can think of an example of this. I remember a friend ringing into work one day. He was going through a tough personal problem and he needed the day off work. And I still remember him telling me that he rang in and his boss turned around and basically said, well, listen, this work needs to be done. I need you to do this. And it's funny because he come off the call and he came and he had some serious words to say about his boss. And I kind of sat there and thought, that's interesting that he spoke about the person he's working for like that, because that is not the telling sign of an entrepreneur that really truly cares and values a person. He valued what he could get from him. He had no awareness, no sympathy or empathy for his personal position. On the flip side of things, the way that I've always been led to do business is that I'm there as a friend before a business partner. And through friendship and valuing each other, we get better, we grow stronger together, and then we build business. So, my strategy is, how do we serve each other? How do we become the best versions of each other? And how can we sow into each other's life before we do business? And again, you want to do this long term? Do you want the people you work with telling everybody how much they despise you? Or do you want people to talk about how much of a great person you are to work for or work with? The choice. Tell number 7 is they make weak emotional decisions. Great entrepreneurs make bold decisions with logic, not emotion. They think about how this is going to impact them in a long period of time. They don't fall for short-term thinking. They don't waver through emotions. They learn to think bigger than how they feel. I'll give you an example. I've been doing this for a long time, as I said. I've had many of opportunities to cash and grab, meme coins, promote this, promote that. But I've always thought to myself, I'm going to make the right decisions, make bold decisions that sometimes aren't so popular, that actually might feel like a sacrifice because there was opportunities to make money, etc. But I'm making decisions because I want it to last in the future. What I see these days is a lot of these entrepreneurs, they make weak emotional decisions because they can get something right now, or they fall to the allure of something. And quite often, these so-called opportunities are actually not for you. You are the opportunity for them. So whenever people ask you to, shill this coin or to promote this, usually there's something to gain from them, and they're actually using your sphere of influence. And see, great entrepreneurs can see that. They can see through that, and they can think further than that as well. This modern day generation are just thinking about the here and now and what can I get. When you understand what you're doing it for, and you have a clear mission and a clear statement in your mind of where you want to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you will not fall into this way of thinking, and you will make strong decisions. And you need to learn how to think bigger than how you feel. So finally, tell number 8, which shows me that an entrepreneur will not stand the test of times, is they do not play the long game. Great entrepreneurs, they play the long game. I was having a conversation earlier and I just said, isn't it interesting that the top CEOs that we regard as the superstars are all in their 50s, 60s, and even 70s when you look at the greats? And they had the ability to stand the test of times. They always planned for decades. When they were building their business plans, it was never about the first year. It was always about the first decade. And this is just a different way in thinking. The long game becomes a philosophy. When you look at your relationship, do you play the long game in relationships, or do you chop and change? In your friendships, in your business relationships, in your business ventures, are you constantly chopping and changing, looking for breakthrough after breakthrough? And playing the long game becomes a philosophy in your life. If you want to make it through 10, 20, 30 years, you have to develop that ability. Let me tell you from experience, after doing this for 11 years, my first 1, 2, even 3 years without having any major recognizable success, there were people there that I used to watch on YouTube, look up to, and now they pretty much don't exist. And some of them, if they rang me today, I wouldn't even pick up the phone. Not out of arrogance, just because I've seen the way they led and the way they journeyed, and they did not play the long game. They fell into temptation. They took shortcuts, and they really abused their influence. I made a decision that I was going to build long term. Everything I've built has been with a 10-year mindset at least. And where the way we do things, even from building the community, is always based around serving people before we try and make profits. And one of the things I'm big on sharing with people at the moment is the idea of being led from within, being led by decisions internally, from the heart, from your soul, rather than external circumstances. And as I said, trying to get things quickly. You can join a free Telegram channel where I share daily information and, just share daily wisdom, where you can get to know me and journey alongside me a bit more completely for free. We have a community that we've been building for the last 10 years, and all based around education, financial education, leadership, lots of different skill sets that can help you go to the next level in the modern day era. And as you can see below, there's some videos that you can tap into as well, and free content on YouTube.